gave NiMet an ultimatum, which will be expiring tomorrow. And seeing that letter, the fact is that the management of NiMet invited the leadership of the unions, national and the branch leadership, for a meeting last week. And there were some agreements or understanding that were reached. And the issues that are causing the industrial disharmony in the place is the issue of 2019 salary consequential adjustment. Yes, it has been paid, but we have about 30 of our members that have not been paid, and we are still waiting for the Ministry of Finance, Budget, and IPPIS to do the needful for those people to be paid. Then we have this issue of, last year in January, federal government approved a 25% salary review for level 1 to 16 and 35% for level 17. As we are talking, NiMet staff have not enjoyed that increase. And I believe that during the consequential adjustment meeting, that issue came up, and federal government agreed that they are going to pay, and from the fillers from other places, they have paid. So our people in NiMet are yet to enjoy that 35 and 25%. So these are issues that are hanging on the neck of Federal Ministry of Finance and the Salaries and Wages Department and IPPIS to ensure that they pay. And why are we agitating? Because when you look at in the aviation industry, NiMet is receiving the poorest salary. Our members in NiMet are receiving the poorest salaries. And I believe that our agitation is right, so that members in the industry should also enjoy what their counterparts in other agencies in the industry are enjoying. We know that all of us that are here, we can attest to it, that the peculiar allowance, the 40% peculiar allowance, since its implementation, our members in NiMet have never enjoyed it. And how can you be in an organization and others enjoying something and you being singled out? So, and that thing has to also affect the productivity level of the workers. So we are also asking or demand that should be paid. And then the issue of scheme of service is there, awaiting approval from the Office of the Head of Service of the Federation. We are also looking at their reverse condition of service also is there. So here we call you to bring out all these things, knowing the importance of NiMet in the economy of this country. Maybe a lot of people may not know, but NiMet is very, very important in the economic prosperity of Nigeria. And that is what we call you to brief you. And now I will also leave the stage for the NUATE General Secretary.
Our unions, NUATE, OPTA, and ANAP, are registered industrial unions recognized by NiMet and to which the workers of NiMet belong and depend for the advancement of their workplace aspirations. Therefore, there is a temptation to think of this press conference as a fulfillment of our obligations to the workers of the agency. But it is much more than that. It is, in fact, part of our social partnership responsibilities to the organization of NiMet for its advancement. As we all may know, the NiMet is essentially a weather information management agency which services reach to far-flanged corners of the earth from its Nigerian base. There is practically no economic sector that falls short of the vital meteorological information that the agency rolls out day to day without break. For the aviation industry, as an example, NiMet services are safety critical. It is practically impossible to operate the aviation sector in the absence of weather information. It is no different for the maritime sector, and the agroeconomy is becoming more and more reliant on weather forecasts. Same for entertainment and events planning. Even in our personal lives, weather information is assuming an important role. This is how exceedingly important this agency's work really is for the country and all within it. Is it not then such an awful irony that an agency such as NiMet, that plays such a vital and critical part in the economic and social life of the country, could harbor staff who are among the worst, if not the worst, remunerated workers in the entire public service? More heartbreaking is the fact that over the years, most public service salary elevations have been denied NiMet workers. And we just do not understand why, considering that the staff are paid salaries directly by the federal government through the Integrated Payroll and Personnel Information System, IPIS. As we all may also know, our unions, as named above, issued a notice of withdrawal of services to the management of NiMet, by which services ought to stop tomorrow, the 4th of February 2025. However, the management and the unions held a meeting on Monday, the 27th of January 2025, at the instance of the management, and agree as per the attached agreement, which I now present. At the instance of the management of NiMet, okay, let me go straight to the implementation of new minimum wage. Management will immediately commence the process to ensure salary relativity and bridge the gap with sectorial public sector wage algorithms. The unions pledge their support for this process as a permanent solution to the growing disparity in salaries between NiMet staff and other aviation agencies within the first quarter of 2025. 2, non-payment of 9 months arrears of consequential adjustment of the 2019 Minimum Wage Act. Management reaffirmed its commitment to pursuing the approval of the outstanding arrears from the Office of the Minister of Finance. A progress update will be provided to the unions within 2 weeks. 3, refusal to comply with ministerial directive for the review of conditions of service. A reconstituted conditions of service review committee, including representatives from the national secretariats of the unions, will conclude its work within 1 month. The revised document will then be forwarded for approval by relevant government agencies. 4, refusal to implement the reviewed scheme of service since 2019. Management's efforts to secure approval for the 2019 reviewed document was acknowledged. The agency commits to expediting the process to ensure prompt implementation. 5, non-payment of peculiar allowance and wage awards. Management will initiate necessary actions for the approval of the 40% peculiar allowance by the National Salaries, Incomes, and Wages Commission. It was noted that implementation of the 25 to 35% wage award is pending at the National Salaries, Incomes, and Wages Commission. The unions commit to support the process. 6, non-payment of hardship allowance. The hardship allowance had been included in the draft conditions of service. 7, improved communication channels. Both parties recognized that miscommunication contributed to the gap in addressing union concerns. They commit to strengthening consultation and engagement channels to prevent reoccurrence. 8, other issues. A, management will, within 1 month, implement ameliorative measures to mitigate the economic challenges faced by staff, including the payment of a subsistence allowance after agreement with the unions. Additional provisions for staff welfare will be further deliberated upon. B, immediate continuation of 2024 staff general training, commencing with grade level 08 to 09. C, management reaffirmed its commitment to pursuing the payment of the outstanding arrears of 36 months to 30 staff omitted from the earlier payment in 2024 at the Office of the Minister of Finance. A progress update will be provided to the unions within 2 weeks. For this to happen, the Enabling Act of NiMet has to undergo significant amendment. We are therefore happy to note that the management of NiMet has already initiated this process to the extent that the amendment has already been listed at the National Assembly. Our unions are of the strong opinion that if the above humble demands are met, the perennial problem of the cries for justice by NiMet staff will become a thing of the past, and along with it, the persistent industrial crisis at NiMet. It is important to stress the fact that a serious crisis at NiMet, such as its services being shut down, has serious society-wide implications, particularly for safe operations in aviation and maritime, and for food security. Therefore, our unions deserve credit for the effort to keep services ongoing in the face of the unabating onslaught on the economic well-being of NiMet staff over the years. But this cannot continue. The intensity of the abject poverty the staff have been reduced to has become unbearable. The stench of the injustice meted to NiMet staff has reached high heavens, and the cries for help from the staff must now be hearkened to. Otherwise, something will definitely give. We, as trade unions, cannot hold on any longer. This is why we use this medium to call on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, through the Aviation Minister, Barrister Festus Keyamo, SAN, for urgent interventions to clean up the mess at NiMet and bring about aviation sector salary relativity. The renewed and reinvigorated commitment of the new management of NiMet gives us hope that the end of this saga can be achieved. Our unions are equally committed to working with management towards resolving these issues in the best possible way to achieve the objectives set out here. But the strong hands of the Minister and Mr. President are direly needed to foreclose the matter. We sincerely appeal to President Tinubu to hearken to this call, as there is no other way. It is in the light of the foregoing that our unions have decided to review the notice of withdrawal of services of the staff of NiMet. As such, the strike that was billed to commence tomorrow, 4th of February 2025, has been suspended until further notice. This is to allow time for the necessary interface by the management of NiMet with all relevant parties in government for the purpose of meeting the above demands. This action is in absolute good faith, and with the hope that others concerned will not fail in their obligations or act in any manner that will compel us to resume the strike action without further notice to anyone. Finally, we fervently appeal to our members in NiMet for a bit more patience and to believe in our leadership to get them out of the woods. We have every reason to believe that President Tinubu, Minister Keyamo, and the NSIWC will not let us down. We thank you very much.
And NLC, to present their complaint. And secondly, they have withdrawn, drugs.
Okay.
Comrade Benjamin Anthony is the Vice President of Nigeria Labour Congress. So Nigeria Labour Congress is duly informed, and we are all working together to achieve this evening. Thank you very much.
Now serious. They were calling us names, the staff of NiMet, but we are not like that.
Are you saying?
Yeah, we have people time.
Okay, no problem.
No, just like
Put up the background of everything, then the next person will take over for him to read the point.
NiMet was moving from one caretaker, one guardian to another. And therefore, the time NiMet arrived in the aviation ministry, It had lost serious ground on physical development with provision of modern working tools and human capacity development, and almost complete remunerations suffered stunted development over the years. The reason it has been left behind by all its peers. The National Salaries, Incomes and Wages Commission. The agency's salary scheme, known as Wages Commission, accords other federal government salary schemes.
That is the national leadership